This
meeting is being recorded.
And this is the fourth session of the add-on course Seed. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Nakir, our expert for today, who has more than 33 years of corporate training and organizational development experience. He's a master facilitator, coach, mentor, a counselor, an author, community worker, and an academic development partner. I welcome you to this session, and I really regret technical glitch at our end, and participants kindly bear with us today. I think it's the weather cause which is the inconvenience. Session is yours, Mr. Narik. On from here.
Thank you, Professor. So good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible without any echo effect.
No echo.
Very clear, sir.
Yes,
sir.
Yes, thank you.
Very clear. Excellent.
I'm so glad audible clearly.
Okay. So bear with this one-way communication. That normally I encourage my audience to interact, but
Mr. Nakiran, we have 2 more sessions with you, so I'm sure things will be better. And we will write in the chat box.
Okay, fine. Let me watch out on the chat box. So at the outset, let me thank my senior professional colleague Balachandran for having connected me to Professor Nirmala, and I also need to thank your principal, Professor Swati Paul, and both the coordinators, student coordinators. This is a session which I think around a couple of months back, I had a discussion with Professor Nirmala, and this was a suggestion which came out of me. 2 reasons I'm happy to be here today. One is I've always been passionate about people development, irrespective of whichever bucket they fall into, whether it is corporate or academics. My last stint in corporate, my learning center used to be called as Institution Industry Interaction Center, which means we interact with the academical institutes, and reverse osmosis of knowledge used to take place. Our managers go and train the students there. We take students as interns, and we train them in our plants, and if they are found fit, we absorb them. So always this industry institution interaction always been in my career. So extending this help to the academic has always been my passion. So here we go. The program was well titled, like My Life Plan, so I just tried to play around. I would like to be renamed as Career Sculpting. Okay, so basically I feel that each one is responsible for their own future. Okay, India is a very fateless country. We believe in destiny, karma, all that, but still I think there is a larger role for each one of us to plan our life and how it spans out. So today's interaction, I am just going to deliberate on few areas. Statutory warning, I'm a movie buff, so I'll be showing a couple of videos. People who like movies enjoy. People who don't like movies, please bear with me. I have circulated a pre-training program material, which I think most of you would have gone through and completed your homework. People who have not completed their homework, probably you might not be able to relate that part of the session today. But otherwise, I have ensured that you will be able to connect for most of the content today. So having said this, let me start off. What color is your parachute? Okay, so why I titled this as parachute is all of us are rearing to go and fly high in the air. We have our own ambitions in life. You call it goals. Okay, you call whatever dreams, aspirations. Ultimately, end of the day, what is the color you would like to paint your life? So symbolically, I'm just trying to do parachute here. Okay, so that's the interpretation of this slide. I would like to start off with a small story. I think India is a land of listening to stories and storytelling. So I hope all of you are game for the story. If you have a scribbling pad and pen nearby, please keep it ready, because at the end of the story, I'm going to ask you a question. Are you game? Okay. Okay. So great. So the story goes like this. You are in a desert. You have with you the following 5 animals. There is a lion, a cow, a horse, a sheep, and a monkey. Right? I think this is a common place animals, so all of you are familiar. Now you got to begin a journey. And this journey is not going to be that easy, because you are going to undertake this journey in a desert. So I'm just transporting you to the desert right now, and you're not going to travel alone. Your destination from point A to point B, you got to reach along with these animals. So the first step of the journey, as you can see, I'm trying to facilitate and make your journey more easier. You can drop one of these 5 animals. I hope you made a note of all these 5 animals. You can choose to drop one of these animals to make the rest of your journey more comfortable. You can use whatever logic you like. We are not going to dispute that. But you got to keep track of which animal you're dropping. So which animal are you going to drop out of these 5 animals first? You not tell me, just make a note of it in your pad. Or you can mentally also note it if you're so strong in your memory. So the journey resumes. You have 4 animals left. The desert is burning up. It goes on for miles. There's everywhere sand. You realize to get out, you're going to have to drop another animal. So out of the 4 animals left over, you got to drop 1 more. So which do you drop? Make a mental note, or you can write it down. Make these choices very spontaneous. Don't think a lot, because spontaneous responses are more genuine. Straight away comes from your heart. Okay, let's proceed in our journey. Now you have 3 animals left. Walk, walk, walk. It's very hot. Disaster. The so-called mirage, the oasis which you're looking for, is dried up. You have no choice now. Out of these 3 animals, again, you can drop 1 animal to travel further comfortably. So make your choice again. Okay. So with these 2 animals left, it's a final, you're nearing the destination, and you can leave the desert now only with 1 animal. The last leg of your journey, the last mile connectivity, as they tell. So now you have a choice. Out of these 2 animals left over, you could drop 1 and take along with you the other animal. So make your choice again. Okay. So now, what do you think this story is about? I hope all of you are left with 1 animal. You can just mention it in your chat box. Which animal are you left with? Let me see how you have responded. What is the last animal you are left with? Quite interesting. I'm finding representation of all the animals. Good. Horse, cow, monkey, sheep. Horse. Okay. Cow. So no one is having the lion, huh? People are scared of the lion. Okay. Great. So this story is a symbolic story, and it's based on the Japanese archetypes. And let's see what it represents. The desert symbolically presents a hardship, and the animals represent those values espoused, what you stand for. So the lion represents pride, monkey represents your family, sheep is your friendship, cow is your basic needs, and horse is your passion. So whenever you face adversity, in the face of hardship, we tend to sacrifice things. Your last animal represents that thing which you cling to at the expense of all others, something which you'll never give up in life at any cost. Okay. Now we are not saying this is good, this is bad. This is basically to understand yourself. This is what is there in your subconscious. I'm just trying to make use of this story to make you understand that what is that you stand for, because this is the ultimate purpose for which you are longing for. For some people it could be family, for some people it could be friendship, for some people it could be passion. So depending on that. Okay, I know many of you are shocked on seeing the results because you had your own logic. We dropped an animal for these reasons. We're not questioning that. However, this story is time tested. So whenever people are faced with a challenge, or a simple change, there is a defense mechanism, the default behavior. This is which develops over a period of time, and through positive reinforcement, this behavior becomes deeply embedded. So right from childhood, whatever experiences you undergo, some people would have been family oriented, some people will be more of relationship oriented, some people have their own passion. So each cause which you really pursue in life has its own charm and also has got its flip side. You got to understand that. So someone who is highly passionate might tend to neglect the others. Okay, but he got something else to achieve in his life. And someone who's highly family oriented might also compromise on various other aspects. So you must be very clear. You got to pay a price for everything you want in life. So I would like to start off with that. Any questions, any comments before I move further? Any viewpoints? So this interpretation or inference, whether you like it or not, refers to your inner soul. This is what you stand for. Okay. Sometimes we claim that this is what I at most hold in life, but actually I'm something different. So the purpose of this story was basically to stir your soul and understand whether you agree or not. This is something which you always look for. This becomes very important because ultimately, if you are not clear on the purpose of your life, any planning, it's like having a strong foundation. Without foundation, you can't definitely raise a building, right? So foundation is very important. Okay. And what kind of foundation are you raising for you? It can be a temporary shelter. It can be a strong building. So let me move on. So if you're going to talk about if you're going to talk about your life plan, there are different aspects. One is what kind of people are you looking at to work with? By nature of personality, am I an introvert, very shy, or am I an extrovert? So would I like my future environment to be surrounded with people or not? That might be your basic choice. What kind of workplace? Today with this pandemic, a lot of people have started working from home, and today corporates are finding it very difficult to pull back people from home. 50% of the population are more comfortable working from home, and there's an equally 50% of population which says no, we want to go back to office. I'm starved of social companionship. I need to go and meet people. Just yesterday I was doing a program for a corporate where this was a major concern. They are getting the required results delivered, the projects are delivered on time, but still the employees are very disengaged. Simple reason they say is we are longing to meet our colleagues. So for some people, going back to the workplace, that socialization is a must. What kind of knowledge are you seeking in your pursuit of your career in life? Purpose is what we started the story with. What are the kind of skills you're looking at? See, if you're part of the human development, which is a very, very broad canvas, I would say this department is doing a very yeoman service. I heard through Professor Nirmala that the kind of work you folks are doing, okay, you have not followed the straitjacket approach. So in that sense, you are all outliers, not entering into the general engineering stream or medicine or commerce. Okay, human development is one group of the futuristic people who can establish that kind of society which we are longing for. Okay, and today that is the need of the hour. Okay, all of us don't want to become a Bill Gates or Elon Musk. Okay, so the human development has a larger role to play, more important than a United Nations. I would put it that way. And what kind of geography you'd like to be? Would you like to be a globetrotter, or you're very comfortable working in your own comfort zones? And end of the day, we also look for some subsistence, right? So what's the kind of salary you are looking for? Would you like to be self-employed? Okay, so one of the homework I'd given you is to fill in a assessment questionnaire. Probably if you're filling up, we'll take it up sometime during the course of the session, and you'll come to know what is the kind of career option you are looking at, right? So let's move on. So when I say purpose, seems to be a very big word. Okay, so we're just trying to break it into small nuggets here. I hope my screen is visible and the picture, the letters are readable. So the different aspects of your life, one is the senses. Are you looking at a purpose in life where it appeals to your five senses? And to what extent does it establish your wellness, body wellness? You had a session on mindfulness, right? So there's something on body wellness also. What kind of things would you like to possess in life? Let me put it this way. What kind of obituary would you like to have? I hope all of you are familiar with the word obituary. So if I were to ask you a self obituary, how would it like to be? What would you like people to talk about you after you cease to exist? Can I expect a couple of responses on the chat? I know it's too short a time to write your self obituary. Volunteers? How would you like to be remembered? I'll just pause here for a couple of minutes. I would like to have some responses in your chat box. A compassionate person. Okay, good, Suparna. Shreya, a person with smart brains. Okay. Death cannot do us apart. Why, God, Sundar? Okay. Honest human being. Great, Mamta. That is a very rare virtue now, people. You are part of an endangered species. Being honest. Okay. What about others? Anisha, positive attitude. Great. That's again a need of the hour, positivity. Understanding person, Naba. Okay. Person who didn't bother people for no reason, Prachi. Okay. Someone who stood up for what she believed in. Great. So I like this. So all of you have a script ready. Now you got to live life to that extent. This is not something which we need to project to others, but something which you internally believe. So you should have an inner conviction. That is more important. Might be challenging, you might be different. So in corporate terminology, we use it something like USP. Okay, you want to buy a product. Why are you particular about that particular brand? It has got a unique selling proposition. So something like that. This is going to stand. This is the statement of life which you're making to the entire world. You're declaring, hey, this is how I would like to be. Great. Thanks for all those who responded. Okay, so there's a kind of position. So when you make this obituary statement, it talks about all this. Some of you mentioned knowledge. Some of you said like values, honesty. Okay. Some of you said I would like to be a caring person. So invariably this covers all this. So what happens is when you do this exercise of planning your life, you are right now at point A in life, and there is a destination which you are planning, which I call as point B. The time span is what you decide, whether it's 5 years time, 10 years time, depending on whatever destiny you have chosen, destination you have chosen. Now to reach there, you require certain skills. So you got to prepare an inventory, take stock of these are the skills I need to acquire, which will enable me to reach my goal post. Now, what are the skills I possess? That gap is something which you have to do as a first exercise. Okay, so we are just trying to give you some illustrations on the screen. I mean, all might not be applicable, but that will just give you a clue. I want to be a pioneer. Maybe you want to start up an industry or take up a new concept. You like to supervise and manage things happening. Being even an NGO, you would like to be a motivator, right? And you would like to use your influencing skills. You would like to consult for others, provide solutions to problems. You would like to be an advisor. You would like to negotiate. Most of us would like to resolve conflicts between classmates, at home, right? So somehow we have a passion for what I call as peace brokering. Okay. So depending on your likes, this is something which you will have to take stock as a first step. Then the next step, you have to look at, I call this as a petal. It looks like a lotus petal. So imagine this is a petal. The first petal is what is the kind of people you like to work with, which I told you earlier. If you are an extrovert person, probably you like to work with that kind of people. If you're an introvert, probably you might prefer introvert. Okay. So kind of preferences. If I'm very honest, I would like to work with people who are honest, straightforward. If I'm gregarious, I would like to work with gregarious people. The second step, the workplace, which I told you. The workplace, what I mean here is, it can be the kind of ambience, okay? A taste of choice. See, some of us go to a place like Cafe Day or Starbucks, okay? We can even afford for an expensive coffee, but more than the coffee, the ambience is what something people get hooked to. So in your workplace, would you like it to be more naturally lit? You want greenery around you, or you would like to be in a concrete jungle, you want to work in a multi-story skyscraper building, or would you like to work in a ethnic area far deep into the jungle. So these are some things which will describe your workplace, which is really inspiring to you to give your best. The third petal where you need to blossom is the skills which I told you. Purpose we discussed in detail. The knowledge. What kind of knowledge would you like to acquire? Now, this knowledge can facilitate you reaching the destination. It's a kind of catalyst, or it will fast track your growth. Okay, whether you want to do it related to technology or non-technology. Okay, the other day I was talking to one of the students, so I was asking, so what kind of courses would you like to do? This person was basically an IT graduate, so I thought they talk about so many things: artificial intelligence, big data. He said, I want to do a research in occult sciences. Right? I was taken aback. Occult sciences, black magic. Okay, so we have our own labels on certain subjects, but this person says, no, I want to really get into the depth of it. If that can be used to influence people for negative purposes, why can't I use the same influencing power for positive things? So that was the thought process. Okay, I'm not strong in that domain, so I can't comment on it, but I was really surprised when a person says, I want to do something on occult sciences. The last part is the money part. Okay, whether we like it or not, we might say, I would like to work for charity purpose, but at the end of the day, we require something called subsistence allowance, a bare minimum, which will enable you to survive. Okay, now this can differ from person to person. For some people, the bare minimum can be having my own independent flat or apartment, or for some people it can be an independent villa, for some people it can be an expensive car. So this is something which is revolving on money. So we are not disputing here whether to have that as an ambition. Depends on the individual. But if you have these basics correct, then you will know what is the kind of efforts you need to put in to reach that. And lastly, the location I told you, if you're globe-trotting, there are some people who would like to really visit other parts of the world. So again, I'm just repeating the same thing. This is the kind of template. You can make a note of it. I'll just flash it for a while. So this is a blueprint which you can use for planning your life. Okay, I keep often using career as a job. Don't look at it only purely as a job context. It can be anything you want to do in life. Okay, so once you define your life purpose, the first step, what are your values, what are the kind of goals, and what for you want to do it? There must be a purpose of existence, right? Then what is the kind of, when I say organizations, again, don't look at corporates alone. It can be even an NGO setup. It can be even a society, community, which you are staying put. Next step, what are the kind of skills do you have? What are the kind of people, environment you'd like to have? What are working conditions you're looking at? Would you like to have a 9-to-5 job? Would you like to have it a 24/7? Or would you like to work 3 days a week? These are all your choices. But these are some things which you should consider before you embark on this journey of life. Already, I think 25% of your journey time is over, assuming that all of us live for 100 years. So, at least for the rest of your life, you need to have these basics in place. I'm just displaying an example. It's not that all of you should have the same choices. Just an illustration how you got to fill up this. One more example. What kind of people you prefer to work with? I mean, this is the kind of examples I can give you. Okay, so you got an idea of what how to go about filling up this template, right? How many of you have heard of this word, read this book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, or heard of it? I'm sure this book is some 20 years back it had come. Anyone who has read this book? Good, Suparna. Heard of it, okay. This book came from 20 years back. Basically, this is a collection of stories which inspires us and gives you a lot of ideas. So there is one story which really inspired me, which I want to flash it across. I'm going to flash this story across, a quite lengthy passage. I need a volunteer who's going to read it out for me, someone with a good voice, because I want to conserve my energy for the rest of the session. So who would like to volunteer? I'm looking for response in the chat box. So whatever I'm going to flash on screen. Okay, Suparna is going to read it out. Suparna, I'm going to just open this file, document. You just got to read it loud, slow, and clear. Is that okay? Shall I start?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, great. Just give a second, it's taking time. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Okay. Yes,
Go ahead.
yes, please. Zindagi na milegi dobara.
Yeah.
One rainy afternoon, an inspired 15-year-old boy named John Goddard sat down at his kitchen table in Los Angeles and wrote three words at the top of a yellow pad. My life list. Under that heading, he wrote down 127 goals. Since then, he has completed 108 of those goals. Look at the list of Goddard's goals, which appears below. These are not simple or easy goals. They include climbing the world's major mountains, exploring vast waterways. Shall I stop if it is echoing?
Please go ahead.
Okay, exploring vast waterways, running a mile in 5 minutes, reading the complete works of Shakespeare, and reading Encyclopedia Britannica, the entire Encyclopedia Britannica. He wanted to explore Nile River, Amazon River, Colorado River, Yangtze River in China, Niger River, Orinoco River, Venezuela, Rio Coco, Nicaragua, study primitive cultures in the Congo.
Number 10.
New Guinea, Brazil, the Sudan. John was nearly buried alive in the sandstorm. Australia, Kenya, Philippines, Tanganyika, now Tanzania, Ethiopia, Nigeria, Alaska. He wanted to climb Mount Everest, Mount Aconcagua in Argentina, Mount McKinley, Mount Huascar in Peru, Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Ararat in Turkey, Mount Kenya, Mount Cook in New Zealand, Mount Popocatépetl Where did it go? In Mexico. The Matterhorn, the Mount Rainier, Mount Vesuvius, Mount Brahma in Java, Grand Tetons, Mount Baldy, California, carry out careers in medicine and exploration. Visit every country in the world, 30 to go, study Navajo and Hopi Indians, learn to fly a plane, ride horse in Rose Parade, photograph Iguacao Falls, Brazil, Victoria Falls, Rhodesia, chased by a warthog in the process. Sutherland Falls in New Zealand, Yosemite Falls, Niagara Falls, retrace travels. Is it okay? Shall I stop?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I wanted to complete the list.
Okay. Explore underwater coral in Florida, Great Barrier Reef in Australia, photographed a 300-pound clam, Red Sea, Fiji Islands, Bahamas, explore Okefenokee Swamp and the Everglades, visit North and South Great Wall of China, Panama and Suez Canal, Easter Island, the Galapagos Islands, Vatican City, saw the Pope, the Taj Mahal, the Eiffel Tower, the Blue Grotto, the Tower of London, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the Sacred Well of Itza, Mexico, climbed Ayers Rock in Australia, follow River Jordan from sea to Galilee to Dead Sea, swim in Lake Victoria, Lake Superior, Lake Tanganyika, Lake Titicaca, South America, Lake Nicaragua, accomplish, become an Eagle Scout, drive in a submarine, land on an aircraft carrier, fly in a blimp, balloon, ride an camel, ostrich at bronco, skin dive to 40 feet and hold breath at a half underwater, catch a 10-pound lobster and a 10 abalone, play flute and violin, type 50 words a minute, take a jump, learn water and snow. Go on a church mission, follow the John Trail, study native medicine and bring back. I've lost that. And bring back full one. Back camera. Trophies of elephant, lion, rhino, cape buffalo and whale. Learn to fence, learn jujutsu. Teach a college course, watch a cremation ceremony in Bali. Explore depths of the sea, appear in a Tarzan movie. Own a horse, chimpanzee, ocelot, coyote. Yet to own a chimp or cheetah. Become a ham radio, build on telescope, write a book on publish an article in National Geographic magazine, high jump 5 broad jump 50 feet, run a mile in 5 minutes, weigh 175 pounds, still does, perform 200 sit-ups and pull-ups, learn French in Arabic, study dragon lizard on Komodo Island, boat broke down within 20 minutes of island, visit birthplace of grandfather Soren Denmark, visit birthplace of grandfather Godard in England, ship abroad fighter as a seaman, read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica, has read the parts of volume. Read the Bible from cover to cover. Read the works of Shakespeare, Plato, Aristotle, Rousseau, Bacon, Hemingway, Burroughs, Conrad, Talmage, Toy, Longfellow, Keats, Whittier, and Emerson. Become familiar with the compositions of Beethoven, Ebert, Mendelssohn, Lalo, Korsakov, Respighi, Rachmaninoff, Stravinsky, Torch, Chervisky Verdi. Become proficient in the use of a plane, motorcycle, tractor, surfboard, rifle, canoe, microscope, football, basketball, bow and arrow, and boomerang. Compose music, play Claire de Lune on the piano, watch fire walking in Bali and Suriname, mix a poisonous snake, bitten by a diamondback during a photo session, light a match with a 22 rifle, visit a movie studio, climb cheapos, pyramid, become a member of the Explorers Club and Adventurers Club, learn to play polo, travel through the Grand Canyon and by boat, navigate the globe four times, visit the moon someday, God wills, marry and have children, live to see the 21st century, he'll be 75.
Thank you, Subarna. Now you can breathe. Okay, so I know this was a bit long list. What do you feel about this guy, John Goddard? Crazy guy, right? Is he too ambitious? At 15 years, this is the kind of bucket list he has prepared. And the beauty is he's achieved almost 85 to 90% of them. So I'm just asking or appealing to this audience, what is the bucket list you have? I'm seeing good responses. Mamta says, I have 55 items on my bucket list, I achieved 30. Well done. Keep going, Mamta. Great show. Very ambitious. Okay. The idea why I made you read all this for the audience is just to get a hang of what differentiates us from the rest of the world. Okay. There is no limit to what you can really aspire. Okay. But unless you have that stretch, if you aim for the moon, they say you can reach for the stars. So the reason why we are asking you to document this, unless your goals are written, documented, we will never be committed to it. Step number 1. Step number 2, please commit your goals to one of your confidential partners. We call them as accountability partners. So it can be your family member, it can be your friend, it can be your professor. You can say, this is what I intend doing. They will kind of be a driving force and check with you, hey, this is what you had committed in this year. Have you done it? So we need some kind of external reminder or reinforcement to follow on this. It need not be 100 or 100. All the items need not be achieved. But at least if you think of such things, it will make you realize your inner potential. The principle of this exercise is very simple. Most of us have not realized our full potential, right? I think you must be familiar with the motivation theory of Abraham Maslow, self-actualization. Can anyone tell me what is self-actualization? If you read it, heard about it? Yeah. What is self-actualization? Living what you want to be. Great, Shalini. Beautiful, great. So most of us die not even knowing what we are capable of. I do a course in chemistry. I become a gold medalist, and ultimately I end up in a bank. I'm a teller or a cashier there, right? Okay, so sometimes not even knowing what we are cut out for. The benchmark, you always need to compare yourself only with yourself. What you were last year and what are you this year. Don't ever compare yourself with your peers. Please follow this golden rule because each one is cut out for different purposes. So from today at least, compare yourself. How different are you from what you were yesterday? What is that one thing which you did today differently? What is that value add you are bringing to the world? That should be the way you progress. Okay, so let me move forward. I think most of you would have seen this movie. I'll just show you a quick crash of it just for you to get a feel of it.
Oh.
So your screen is not visible?
Screen is not visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 1 second. Is the audio okay?
Yes, sir. That is perfect.
now when the screen is not being shared, there is no echo.
Yeah, there's no echo. So I think
Actually
there
the
is-
bandwidth is not supporting multiple things. It's supporting audio, but it's not supporting audio and screen sharing at the
Fine.
same time.
Okay, let me skip this then. Anyhow, most of you would have seen this movie. This is just a snapshot of this movie, how the current generation would like to live the life. Okay, so it's not that you follow a predestined or pre-planned. Okay, of course, then you need to plan for your life, but it is not the conventional method. Okay, so you be very clear. How do you really try to explore various things which you are capable of? So this is an extension of the self-actualization which we spoke about. I'm sure most of you would have seen this movie, Bucket List. If you're not watched, please go ahead, watch this movie. Okay, so primarily story revolves around these two people, characters. One, a guy, a rich guy, millionaire, and the other guy, a commoner. Both of them cancer patients. How they befriend each other in the hospital, which is run by the millionaire, and how they achieve their bucket list. Okay, they have a big list of things to do, and really it's worth watching and a very influential movie of the decade. So please watch it. Now we'll come to serious business. I will change gears. Uh, I hope you completed that assessment tool. Do you have that tool with you, people of Philip? I just want you to have that ready in hand. So if you have it ready, please, you'll have to complete the scoring.
Mr.
So,
Nathan, sorry to interrupt. In case
yeah,
we are able to unmute and speak, without the echo, then I think you can have an interaction with them.
yeah.
So
People,
please try it out, because now we are not screen sharing and there's no echo either.
oh, okay. So my screen is not visible now.
No.
sir.
1 second. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So people who have filled in the assessment tool, if you have completed scoring, fine. Otherwise, if you've not done the scoring, this is how the way you need to score. So totally we had 40 statements, and for each of these statement, you are expected to give a score, right? Which is your most preferred, your preference for that particular statement, which is a number, and you got to transfer those scores into each of the statement numbers. So the numbers mentioned here are the statement numbers, and whatever scores you are assigned has to come into those boxes. So once you transfer the scores, you have to do a row total. That is statement number 1, 9, 17, 25, 33. They form a set. So likewise, we have 8 sets of scores. Is this clear, scoring?
Yes, sir.
So can I give you a couple of minutes to complete this right away if you're not done it, or are you ready with the scores? This is going to tell you what is the kind of career you're cut out for, and what can be the motivational factors for it, and what can be the challenges also. So this will enable you to make wise career choices. If you're completed, you can just either put up a hand symbol, or in the chat box you can say that completed so that I'll know. I'll give you a couple of minutes.
Participants, please write yes in the chat box if you have completed it.
Good. I think Rufina is the early bird. Completed. Great.
Mr. Nakiran,
Yeah.
today, Gen Y, they want lot of challenges in their career life.
Mm-hmm.
I've been observing my daughter,
Okay.
and Nirmala Murli is the daughter,
Okay.
who's working with Microsoft.
Okay.
They all they require a lot of challenges in their job.
Uh-huh.
Then only they can grow.
Yeah, that's true. See, unless you're challenged, sometimes we don't feel like giving our best. Take the example of our Indian cricket team. Okay. Okay. Sometimes we take a beating, we lose terribly in one of the matches, lowest score. Next match, like a phoenix bird, they rise from the ashes and do an extraordinary performance. Whether Dhoni was the captain or Virat Kohli was captain, so that seems to be culturally embedded in us. Someone has to condemn you, saying that you're no good. All of us operate based on the kickstart initiative, not self-starting initiative.
I really like this template. Career anchors very good, sir.
Thank you.
The template is very good. Thank you.
Welcome. So people who have completed the totaling, the row totals, please rank them in a descending order, which means the highest score gets the first rank out of these 8 rows. See which is the first rank, second rank, third rank, in a descending order. So that will clearly tell you what is the carry ranker which you prefer. I will explain in detail what each one of these mean. So as of now, you transfer your scores into this template, do your row totals, and rank those totals in the descending order. So people who have completed the totals and the ranking, you can straight away mention in the chat box which is the highest score. I mean, you can write down the name of the anchor. If it's row number 1, then it can be technical or functional. If you got a higher score in the second, then it can be general managerial. Third one is autonomy. Fourth one is entrepreneurial creativity. Fifth one is security. Sixth is sense of service. Seventh is challenge. And the last one is lifestyle. Just write the name of the career ranker on the chat box. Rufina, you can complete it since you've done the totaling. Others can hurry up. We have more ground to cover. Professor, will I get extra time because of the delayed start?
Yes, sir. I'm sure.
Sure.
You got to bear with me.
No, not at all.
It's like the typical student, no, end of the exam, give me just 5 minutes, let me complete the sheet.
There was an issue, so we
Convenience on our account. We are sorry for that.
Not at all. Okay, I'm not finding response in the chat box. People are still adding up, or you're completed? Some responses in the chat box, please. Okay, we'll wrap it up in another 2 minutes. Need to move. Anyone has any clarifications? So once you complete your totaling row-wise, you have to rank the 8 rows in descending order. The highest total gets the first rank. Okay, so if it's autonomy, what does it mean? If it is creativity, what does it mean? Let's do a deep dive now. Is it okay if I proceed? People know how to complete the scoring, right? You have made a note of these 8 anchors in the order. I'll just give you a minute. You can make a note of this. So the first career anchor would be technical functional. The second one would be general managerial. Third one, autonomy. Fourth one, entrepreneurial creativity. Fifth is security. Sixth, sense of service. 7, challenge. And 8 is lifestyle. Okay, so I'll move on. Generally, what is our interpretation of career? Career is how an individual's work life develops over a period of time. So each one has got our own perception of what a career means to me. Okay, when you attend the job interviews, the company will be telling you straight away, we are not offering you a job, we are offering you a career, which is a lifetime promise kind of thing. But invariably, it's a question of semantics. Okay, so career is nothing but a combination of perceived areas of competence. You feel that you are strong in that. It's purely your perception. And this is what you think motivates you and values. So now you find the correlation. We started the session with the parachute. We saw the petals. We decided what is our larger purpose of life. What is the kind of environment we would like to work with. So what are our strengths? What are our motivations? What are the kind of values which will stand for? The animal story was basically to reinforce your value system, which you will not give up, and represent one real self. So there are 8 types of career anchor which decides your attitude to your occupation. The technical, the first row. If you got a highest score, which means this is the first rank when compared to the other 7 anchors, what does it mean? You would like to be a specialist in your area, right? And you'd like to acquire more in-depth expertise. You want to become a subject matter expert. You might like to do a research in it, PhD, or half a dozen PhDs in it, because that is the one which is going to give you an identity, a cut above the above from the rest of the crowd. So you will be most happy when the work permits you to be challenged. Just now Bala was telling, right? Today's generation is looking for challenges. You want to be a subject matter expert, and probably you'll be appearing on the TV panels, shows, all that, where people consult you depending on your chosen area of specialization. So you'd like to be there. That is your motivation. And you'll be willing to manage others in their area. You are, what I say by willing to manage others is you can be a mentor to rest of the people who are following your trail. And you will not be interested in typical management jobs, and you would like to avoid them. The second row, which corresponded to general managerial competence, these are the people who like to manage things. In the sense, they are power hungry. They want a lot of people to do administrative jobs, bureaucratic. Okay, they would like to work in this agency, that agency, and they would like to climb the ladder faster. Ambition, definitely it's high. They are not going to be specialists. When compared to the first category, these people are more of generalists. The third category, I think some of you would have got a high score here. These are the people who look for independence. Any job I get into, I want to be independent. I can't be reporting to somebody. I will have to decide my work. I will have to decide how much time I take to complete it. That's the kind of, even at home, sometimes we do that, right? Even when your mom calls you, hey, come and have lunch or dinner, say no, at your pace. You want to have that control of your life with you. The remote is with you. You don't want anybody else to press the remote for you. So they will not give up the opportunity to define the work way. So you would like to decide how much time in a day you'd like to work, which part of the day you'd like to work, because today the entire sequencing, in my days, it used to be you got to get up early in the morning. That's the best time. What we call as Brahma Muhurta. You read, hit the bed early. After 9 p.m., no lights on. That's the kind of time. Okay, it may look like a regimen now, but that's the way we were tutored in our generation. But today it's totally different. Okay, so what they call graveyard shifts. People, real eureka moments come night at 2 a.m. Okay, I used to have this argument with my daughter. Hey, come on, hit the bed early. She says, Daddy, she's a fan of A.R. Rahman. She says, A.R. Rahman composes music at midnight. You know that the best comes only during that time. That's the flow state, prime time. So she starts giving me a big lecture on that. So this is something which people would like to decide on themselves. They are not confined to rules and regulations. So you go and try to tell them the rules of the institution or the organization, they'll say, hell with you. They are not interested in promotion and advancement. For them, freedom is more important. I observed this tendency in the banks. That's a phenomenon where the clerks working in the banks can move into the officer cadre by writing a departmental exam. But most of the clerks don't opt for it. Simple reason, they'll say it restricts their freedom. As a clerk, I am governed by the unions. I can walk out of the bank after the banking hours, whereas an officer or a manager has to stay late hours. Okay, so they don't want these stifling restrictions. For a paltry increase in money, why should I really get into that kind of job? So autonomy is something very important. The fourth category, the security or stability. These are the guys who look for job security. Today, even government jobs, there is no security, right? You know what's happening in the government economy. Public sectors are up for sale, right? And so people look for permanent jobs. On the contrary, we also have another phenomenon happening called gig economy, where people are not tied up to one particular organization. Today, there is a new class of people coming up called gig workers. You might have heard of this word, gig, G-I-G. Gig workers are basically people who work for an organization for specific projects, after which they'll move to some other organization. So depending on their specialized skills, they are the most sought after, and this phenomenon is happening around the globe, including India. So gone are the days where you can proudly claim that I work for this organization for so many years. That loyalty thing has undergone a different definition. Talking of loyalty, I want to tell a difference between cat loyalty and dog loyalty. Okay, see, the cat is always loyal to the household, the physical structure. The owner moves out of the house, the cat will stay put and wait for the new owner to come in, the occupier of the premises. On the contrary, the dog is more attached to the owner. So the owner moves out of the house, the dog also tends to move with him. Both are loyal, but for different entities. So today, we find employees in organizations, if they feel that they're working for more than 3 to 5 years in an organization, something wrong. In those days, a person expected to, someone who joins an organization expected to retire only with that organization. Changing organizations in between is considered an anathema. No, strict no. What's wrong with you? It's like changing the spouse. Whereas today, that's not the trend. People work for 1 year, 2 years, they keep on moving to different organizations. One, they would like to explore. They would like to grow fast, quite ambitious. They don't want to work till the age of 58 or 60. They would like to work till the age of 40 and then enjoy life. So that's the pattern today. Whereas the security stability guys, somebody who's looking for lifetime employment, they would look for gratuity, provident fund, all those retirement benefits. Now comes the real guys, the creative guys, the startup guys who like to start up some new. They have a nice thought and they start up this. The Elon Musks of the world. Okay. So they start up something new. Initially, it might look like a crazy option, but these are the ones who can make a difference to the world. They come out with a lot of innovations, inventions, and they are quite ambitious. They can create an enterprise on their own. Then we have the Mother Teresa's. Okay, I'm sure some of you would have got a high score here. Okay, join an NGO, you'd like to do a community service. I find this trend coming now. Guys who work in IT go abroad, and after some time they like to come back to the country. So they like to start a small NGO outfit. The joy of giving back to the society. Okay, so that group comes in here. Then we have the challenge group, who always would like to be intellectually challenged and would like to resolve. See, a recent example I can give is the way our Indian scientists discovered the vaccine for this COVID. Okay, normal time, research and development facility will take quite a time, but this was really a challenge, and with the appeal going on, so in record time, I think they found a vaccine. In normal circumstances, to test a vaccine and make it public doesn't come that fast. So people who look for this kind of challenges, they tend to act. It's an intellectual kind of work. Lastly, lifestyle. Lifestyle is basically for people who are looking at work-family balance. Remember the animal story? Okay, monkey seems to be a kind of challenge. It's always on the shoulder, but family burden is like that. We got to take care of our parents, siblings, spouse, children, whatnot. But I would also like to do something passionate as a career. So these people look for a lifestyle. So can I look at flexi working hours? I can give 3 hours or 4 hours in a day. So today there are a lot of flexible working also. I spoke about the gig working. So there are people who prefer this kind of state. So if you got a highest score among the 8 anchor in lifestyle, so you are a person who is looking for a flexible working, where you would like to maintain all the aspects of your life, right? So finally, to conclude this session, on the anchor part of it, we have to look at what are the talents you have, what values and what motivations, and which you would not like to compromise. So if you have this clarity, then accordingly you can decide what is the job, and it can help you in your growth. Now I'll move further. You see 2 animals on the screen, hedgehog and the fox. Which appeals to you mostly? Each one has its own unique characteristic. Can I have some responses in the chat? You prefer a hedgehog or a fox? Fox. Tanya is a fox. Naba is a fox. Sanya is a hedgehog. Shreya a fox. Vidhi fox. Urvashi hedgehog. Okay. Great. So I don't know whatever reasons you chose them by the looks or habits. Akanksha fox. Pragya hedgehog. Chakriti fox. Good. I find this balance 50. Now each one has its unique traits, which I'll explain to you right now. The fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows one big thing. So what does it say? Fox is more of a general, would like to know a bit of every discipline or knowledge in the world. But the hedgehog is a specialist. The fox pursues many things at the same time, multitasking. You are that person, hey, this week I've enrolled myself for my piano classes. Next month you're asking, what are you up to? Oh, now I'm into my power yoga. So every month the preference of this person keeps changing. This person might not stay put to one particular hobby or vocation, keeps changing. Would like to know everything, very, very thirsty. And they see the world in all its complexity. They are scattered. Sometimes people will blame you. Hey, you're scatterbrained, you're not focused at all. And you keep jumping, moving up here and there. And you are not integrated in thinking. On the contra, the hedgehogs, they just stick on to one thing. Same course, same discipline, higher courses, okay, specialist. And bring everything back to a basic principle. So they have already discovered Eureka, what is the purpose of life, and they would like to have all their actions revolving around that. And anything which does not relate to that basic thing which they are for, they discard it. So they will not pursue that area. Why I showed you this is, there's a book by Jim Collins, Good to Great. He was a great management expert, and he said that when individuals choose their career, it is something like organizations. There are 3 aspects which you should consider. What are the things you're really good at, which talks about your excellence? What are the things you're passionate about, what you want to do, right? Your interest. The third one is what is the value it brings to you, okay? So all these put together will really decide how great a personality you would become in your chosen area. So excellence, passion and value. Please remember. So I'm giving you a explanation, an example here on the screen. Excellence is something which will make best use of you. You have certain skills, so you would like the job or career to make the best use of skills. Otherwise, you'll feel underutilized. You can be frustrated. Likewise, value. Why should people come to you? What is that USP I was talking about? Unique selling proposition and passion. So something which appeals to your heart. Always we can't be intuitive or intellectual, right? Or there is this classic conflict between the brain and the heart. Okay, my mind says do this, whereas my heart is tugging me and pulling to a different direction. So this is how it looks like. Now, there are things which you like to do in life, there are things you don't like to do in life. And there are things which are effective and things which are not effective. So if you can put it like a 2x2 matrix, things which you like to do and things which are effective, you have to give importance to that. That is the projection you have to give to rest of the world. Emphasis, I am so and so, I am good at this. This is what I would like to do. Be very emphatic and bold about it. There are some things which you don't like to do, but still you are good in it. Okay. People want you because you recite that poem very well. So every time probably prayer song, every time they call you on that, but you don't like doing it. It is a kind of rigor for you. Okay, it can happen. So this you got to manage. The third aspect, there's things which you like to do, but you're not effective. Probably you're lacking in skill level. You need more training, more exposure, more mentoring, coaching. So these are things which you got to develop. So these are the 4 strategies how you need to really develop yourself. Lastly, there are some things which you don't like to do and which you're not effective at, but still that is also part and parcel of your life. You have to partner, team, or delegate. In corporate, we use this word outsource, things which you don't want to do. For example, contractual jobs. There's no point in having a permanent employee in my organization to do these kind of jobs. So I will try to outsource, probably a housekeeping job. Okay. So on the lighter side, again, I'll have to give the example of my daughter who recently went abroad to Canada for her higher studies. So she hates cooking. Okay, she's highly cerebral, and there, fortunately, she got a roommate and who knows cooking. So the deal between them is she tries to support her in preparing the assignments, and the other person takes care of the cooking. So she's saying, "Daddy, this is a win-win situation for both of us." So she understood very clearly. Definitely, cooking or the culinary skill is not my cup of tea. So there's a person who is passionately doing it. So let me do this for her and she does this for me. So this is a template. You can make a note of it and probably later develop it for you. So skills, activities and roles which you like to do, which you don't like to do, and skills which are effective at and which are not effective at. Very simple, no nonsense, no brainer, 2x2 matrix. The next aspect I want you to think about your life plan is on your energy level. Okay, so most of the time you have to look at how high and how low is your energy. I told you of prime time. For some people, it could be 2 a.m. in the morning. For some people, it could be 11 p.m. For some people, it could be 3 p.m. Okay, so each one has got our own prime time. Okay, and where they say your alpha level is really high, you can focus more, you can give your best output. So the high energy, what we mean here is that part of the day which you feel you can give your best output or you are highly productive. Okay. Now you have a high and low in terms of energy. Likewise, you also have a negative energy and positive energy also going. So when I say energy, it works both ways. Sometimes you feel like sulking, cursing. Okay, so there are negative things also, there are positive things also. So again, when will you be fully engaged? When you're highly energy and you're highly positive. Okay. On the contrary, you are high in energy, but it is negative. Again, it doesn't help you. It is best for others not to interact with you at that point of time. You better go have your own soliloquy, be introspecting, listen to music, retire into a room. There are areas where you are low in energy, but still positive. So you need not take any momentous decisions. That's the time where you're not expected to take any major decisions of your life or career. So you would be disengaged. You would be relaxed, be peaceful, tranquil, do your meditation, all that kind of stuff. So this slide basically talks about how do you match your energy level with your life plan. Don't ever try to take major decisions in the other three quadrants, especially in the negative roles. When you're depressed, exhausted, hopeless, that's the time where we tend to blunder, making career choices. Don't be desperate. Okay, this is again the importance of networking. I know by this time, alumni, you might have connect with your alumni. How do you really pursue your future career? Okay, whether it is a job or higher studies. So this is something constantly you have to have in mind. Today, this works very, very powerful. Don't underestimate the power of networking. Okay. So I agree that all of us can't be close to everyone in the world. So you have your own inner circle, close friends. Then you have the next level, not so close but not too far, and finally people who are too far, high by relationship. So try to plot your relationship in this format, and then depending on the need, you'll have to connect with them. Okay, there are friends with whom every moment you keep connect. There are friends with whom once in a while you keep connect. Okay, today we have technology, so accordingly make use of this. And if you look at high achievers, they have the drive to do things. Responsibility, by responsibility what we mean here is having that focus. I told at the start, focus is very important, and having the confidence that you can do it. The rest of the things are something which I emphasized sometime earlier. Having a purpose, vision is something where you would like to embark the destination, doing something meaningful, and having a relationship which will really create that energy. So there are four types of personalities basically. Today we don't have the time, otherwise I could have done an assessment and make you know where exactly you fall into this quadrant. The four types of personalities are basically expressive, amiable, drive, and analytical. Drive are those guys who are dominant leaders, okay, demanding, and the commanders. So highly result oriented, very impatient. So all these personalities have some pluses and some minuses as well. So while the drives can be very good leaders, they're also highly opinionated and they're very stubborn. The expressive guys are very optimistic, ambitious. Okay, but the flip side is they need approval from others. Is this dress okay for me? Is my hairstyle okay? Small things they require ratification from the rest of the world. The amiable guys are very, very friendly, happy go lucky guys, okay, jolly good fellows, and a very good listener, patient. What can be the drawback? They feel insecure because in the absence of people, they feel suffocated. So always they need to be surrounded by people. And since they don't want to confront people, they can't be assertive also. They can't call a spade a spade. That can be a drawback. The analytical guys are those brainy, okay, guys who are very logical. You require guys who can reason out things and all. Okay, after all, we have a sixth sense of reasoning for that. The drawback, they'll be good in nitpicking, finding fault with others. So people may not like you because you're too analytical, incisive. You can be less emotional because you tell bluntly straight on the face of the person that this is not okay with. Some people can get hurt. So you can be labeled as an abrasive personality. So you will fall into one of these slots. This also decides which direction you have to take. Okay. So the driver basically brings a lot of experience, skills, knowledge, and is always seen as an expert and very innovative guys. And for him to move up, he has to have challenges, responsibilities, and recognition. All of us look for recognition. So you will have to look at similar things. What is that you bring to the table as skills, or strength, and what will enable you to move up? The other thing you have to look at is move up alone does not ensure growth. You can also move laterally, that is moving across. You can move from one domain to another domain. What I mean here is in community service itself, you can move from one sector to another sector. Okay, so somebody has something to do with women empowerment, something on the underprivileged children. So you can get an exposure to all this. So that is also another growth, or totally moving into a new area. So these are some things which you have to have in mind when you're trying to chalk out your career. Okay. I'll just take another 15 minutes if it's okay. Right. So how many of you have heard of this word, Ikigai, or read this book? Yeah? Anyone? Okay, so if you're not read this book, I strongly recommend please read this book. This is a Japanese philosophy. And what does it talk? I'll just try to simplify it for you. I'm not sure if I play the video, you'll be able to watch it. So I'll skip the video. Ikigai is nothing but a concept of why do we exist, a reason for being. Okay, it's a Japanese philosophy, as I said. So again, here in extension of what we spoke some time back, after the hedgehog and the fox, we spoke of passion, excellence, and value. Here, this is an extended concept. They say is, look at the things what you love in life, look at the thing what the world needs, and what can also yield you some remuneration. So there must be those actions which should also give you some return. So what can you be paid for, and what you're good at. So all these 4 areas, when they converge, that decides your passion, mission, profession, and vocation. And that in turn, the central focal point would be Ikigai. So which means living life king size. You're comfortable. So even if one of the dimensions is not addressed, see what it can result to. So someone who is having a profession, vocation, all that, but it's not having the job which he loves, he can feel comfortable with feeling of emptiness. Yeah, I get paid, I have very good wealth, all that. But end of the day, I am not satisfied with my job. Okay. And for some people who are working on something which they're not good at, they have a sense of uncertainty. I'm not sure how long my industry is going to survive because I lack certain skills. Maybe my knowledge is outdated. So excitement and complacency, but sense of uncertainty is there. There are some people who do what they love, okay, and they have the passion, they have the working for the needs. But at the end of the day, they're not accumulated any wealth. Okay, so the family will suffer. Delightful fullness, they're happy. They're doing something to the society, all that. But they don't have even their basic needs being met with. And lastly, you have this category of people who are getting what they want, they are passionate, they're doing what they love, but they're not sure whether it is helping the rest of the world. So they get a satisfaction, but feeling of uselessness in the world. I also exist in this world, in this universe. So that's the kind of feeling. So beautifully summed up. Please try to read this book at the earliest, very small book. You will complete in one reading. Very, very thought-provoking and very profound. So I'm just trying to give you some other things which are being discussed in this book. Look at your childhood. What are those moments which you enjoyed? Maybe school days, kindergarten days, whichever period. What are the most enjoyable part of your life in your childhood? What are the memories which are evoked strongest? What kind of emotions do they bring to you? Okay. So look at those significant things in your life. And now how much of that do you feel at the present? When do you feel most happy? What makes you smile? When do you express strongest emotions? Okay. When do you feel more curious? So this is the way how you go about identifying your Ikigai. And one way of discovering your Ikigai would be, what is it you do without being asked? Spontaneously it comes to you. What would you continue to do even if the rest of the world failed to understand why? So you're so passionate, you're not bothered whether the rest of the world is noticing you or not. Okay, what would you do even if you had all the money you needed? And what do you look forward to in the future? And what makes you alive? Now, taking stock of this, now you got to take a momentous decision. What would you like to change in your life now if you're not happy? Because the current scheme of things is not giving you the desired satisfaction or happiness. Now is the time to change. So what are you going to change? When are you going to start this change? These are the questions you need to ask. We'll see if you have time to do a quick assessment. I think this should not take more time. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
So there are some 8-9 statements on the screen. What you do is read out each of the statement, and you have to give a weightage to them. If you feel it is 100% applicable to you, you have to give a 5. If you feel it's a 0%, not at all applicable to you, just give a 1. Somewhere in between, you can give 2, 3, 4. So starting from this statement, I believe that I have some impact on someone. Okay, so each of the statements, anywhere between 1 to 5, you got to give a score. Be very honest, because basically this is to enable you identify what is your ikigai.
Are we supposed to write the chat box?
No, you just hold for yourself, not necessary. You just read out the statements, give the scores for each statement, and total up all the scores. I think you have 9 statements, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. Yeah. Quite self-explanatory, simple. So the interpretation is also flashed on the screen. Depending on the total scores you get, where are you in your journey of identifying your ikigai? So higher the score, better. You have discovered the purpose of your life. This is basically a dipstick analysis for you to just know where are you in this journey. Okay, Sheshta has the book but not read it. So Sheshta, you will read the book today, I hope. Mamta says Ikigai is essential for longevity. Yes, the book starts, the first chapter talks about that. People living in certain islands of the world known to be having a higher longevity depends on their diet, and more important, how they keep their mind calm. Okay, can I move on? Great. So interpretation is very simple. After rating all these 9 statements, a score of 40 and above would suggest you have a strong sense of ikigai. 30 to 39, most of the time you have it. 20 to 29, some of the times you have it. 10 to 19, very little, you are struggling, and less than 10 minutes, probably you are yet to discover. Okay, so that's something which I thought I'll touch upon. Good, we did that. So these are some things I think which in your mindfulness session you would have heard. I think Ramya and Yogesh spoke to you, so I'll not spend much time here. It's basically how you manage your stress, and they were taught you on the breathing exercise. This is what I spoke to you some time back. So if you look at it, there's no future, no past, there's only one present. People who live for the present. And there's a book called Flow, written by this guy. I pronounce that name. He's a Croatian. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi sent me hi. That's how it's pronounced. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, right? So what does the flow state mean? It is the pleasure and delight where effortlessly you do certain things. You're programmed. You don't even need to think about it of doing that. It comes to you automatically and you perform. There are some musicians who do that. Okay, there are some artists, painters. So any action which you do involuntarily, there are certain conditions of achieving the flow. So you should know knowing what to do and how to do. So these are all pre-programmed in the mind. So by default, it comes to you. And it also tells you how well you're doing. Even if others don't point out your flaws, you know, hey, I made a mistake here, music composition. You can be a sculptor, whatnot. Still, you will know where you're making a mistake. And you know where you are pursuing challenges, where you have skills, and how can you be distraction free. So how do you go about finding an Ikigai for people who got a low or moderate score? See the activities which you derive flow and what makes you really get into that state. So you will have to take time out, introspect, sit alone, write down certain things which you feel that makes you flow naturally. Focus is very important. You concentrate on a single task. See, today with this technology coming in, like last time also, I think Ramya was speaking, it's very difficult for us not to, to keep our mobiles away from us, right? Fear of missing out. So we tend to watch, hey, is there some message coming? I don't want to be missed out in the world. So can you turn off your phone? Okay. And what I call it as technological fasting. Today we have sessions like digital detoxification, where totally you can cut off from any of the digital devices, whether it's the computer, mobiles or TV, whatever. I think some of you might have heard of this Vipassana meditation. Anyone? Okay. Vipassana meditation is from a Buddhist school of thought. I think the Goenka group is promoting it. What exactly happens is 10 days you're locked up in a kind of retreat where you can't even speak to your fellow participant. Okay. You're not supposed to carry any devices with you, no TV, nothing. You're cut off from the entire world. Just observe silence start to end. They wake you up early in the morning, you get ready after all your bath. It's just meditation, meditation, meditation. And you are served sattvic food, again meditation. Basically, they want you to get deep into yourself, inner self, and understand. Imagine for us, even if you're asked not to speak for 1 hour, it's a challenge, right? 10 days. And there are a lot of people who go there and really come rejuvenated. And this is basically mind cleansing. Okay, so something like that helps you better focus. Multitasking is a myth. Most of people feel, hey, I'm capable of doing 2-3 things. I just switch on the TV, I still read or write. No, not acceptable. Okay, definitely quality of work suffers. I strongly advocate never attempt multitasking. Don't try to have your food just by looking at your mobile or reading something. Okay, our elders used to say, no, even while having food, you're not supposed to chat with each other. Focus on what is being served there. Enjoy the food. So never stop learning. This is what I would like you to suggest. Okay, they say you can learn lifelong. Small quotation: you may grow old and trembling in your anatomies. You may lie awake at night listening to the disorder of your veins. You may miss your only love. You may see the world about you devastated by evil inventics, or know your honor trampled in the spheres of baser minds. There is only one thing for it then: to learn. Learn why the world wags and what wags it. That is the only thing which the mind can never exhaust. Never alienate, never be tortured by, never fear or distrust, and never dream of regretting. Okay, I somehow like this quote. So till your death, you can learn. So these are some Ikigai activities where instead of being analytical, you can be more of emotional. Okay, so Ikigai talks more about emotions, being more fluid, not having a fixed mindset, more of giving, and more of externalizing your world. Okay, and it talks about more of present, not necessarily the future. So some small templates where you can record on everyday basis some kind of activity: smell, sound, taste, touch, light. So how do you use all your senses? So how do you experience joy? It might look like a very minute, silly kind of activity, but all these recordings and documentation helps you to refine you and fine-tune you better. So likewise, you can use this to craft your job. Remember, we started the session with sculpting. Okay. So can I design my own career? Can I design my own job for achieving Ikigai? So you have to start listing out what are the tasks you do in a day and how do you feel performing it? How much time do you spend in a day, and whom all does it enable you to connect with? So once you prepare this chart, maybe for a week, then you'll come to know what are those things you enjoy most and how much time are you spending on it. So can you try to increase, decrease accordingly? And it should also result in some improvement. What I did yesterday, I told you, you have to always benchmark yourself with you, not with anybody else, as each one we are cut out for a unique purpose, and that's the way you grow. So I'll just stop here, and I would like to take question answers. Thanks for the opportunity, Professor. So
Mr. Nakiran, thank you so much. Stop sharing the audience can speak.
done.
Is it better now?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
There's no echo? Yeah, thanks. Yeah, before the questions come in, thank you so much for this thought-provoking session. And I couldn't even welcome you properly because of the technical issues that we had. And you've given us so much food for thought that I think we really need to introspect and things will sink in gradually. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor.
Audience open to questions. Any questions from the audience?
I think as Suparna has put it in the chat box, that we do need time to absorb all this.
it went above your head, huh?
No, not at all. Not at all. You know, it's like chewing the cud.
Okay. I'm happy if it has triggered your thought process.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Hello, good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, Vidhi, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I don't have any question, but like Suparna ma'am said that we'll need some time to absorb all this.
Okay.
So yeah. So thank you so much, sir, for today's session. I did one of the worksheets that you provided us with, and
Okay.
it really helped me in actually realizing what I'm thinking for my future, what I want for my future. Like I think I think about what all things I want to pursue, but your worksheet helped me in thinking in in a deeper perspective.
Okay.
And obviously your session helped a lot. So thank you so much, sir.
All the best, Vidhi.
Mr. Nakiran will be doing 2 more sessions for us. So yeah, lucky to have him with us for 3 sessions. And thank you so much for accepting and agreeing to do this for us.
Anytime, my pleasure.
Mrs. Nirmala Muralidhar, this is Balachandran. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, Bala, go ahead, Bala.
Yes,
Yeah, this is the first time attending Nakiran session. My goodness, amazing presentation. The slides are colorful, well conceived, conceptualized, executed with elan. And some of the points you have mentioned about be a member of adventurer club, explorer club, and some of the ikigai concepts, and how we should get into self-introspection to get to know what kind of a person I need to be tomorrow, how I should gear up for the bright future, and how I should plan for my career life. Everything was very elaborate, very informative, and you have created a huge impact in my mindset. Thank you.
Thank you, Bala.
Sir, we are really grateful to you for this comprehensive, holistic, and a wholesome session, for providing us with the template to chart out the blueprint for our future goals. And we appreciate the innovative methodology that you have used to reach out to the participants, whether it was through tiny anecdotes or through these little quiz or evaluated or assessment sheets. It kept us engaged, it kept us glued on. And thank you so much. These tools that you have provided us and the template that you have given us is something that we cherish. We are going to hold on to, cherish, because at any moment we can go back to it, we can assess, evaluate our goals. I'm sure if 10 of us can achieve the goal of living life king size, our goal is attained, in the sense that our goal to have this session, these life skill courses. And I think that word, living life king size, that says it all. I mean, you can be doing a lot of things, still not being happy, but the contentment factor is so important in choosing your goals and in charting your future goals. And this template that Sir has provided us today is going to help us a long, long way. Thank you so much, sir. I also extend my warm regards and thanks to all the participants and the coordinating team at JDMC. And of course, last but not the least, to Mr. N.C. Balachandran for always being there, supporting us and supporting each of the speakers. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
May I request all the participants to switch on their cameras for a group photograph, please? Everyone, please, for a group photograph. Mr. Nakiran, your camera is muted. Can't see you.
Really?
Yeah.
Sir, it's actually on, but we cannot see you in the
I'm not able to see you.
Now?
No, sir.
Not yet.